1-4, writing equations and inequalities. We've been translating verbal phrases into expressions. Now we're going to learn how to take verbal sentences into equations or inequalities. So, you need to know some vocab. First of all, an equation is a math sentence that has an equal sign. An inequality is a math sentence that uses greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to. So if it has an equal sign, it's an equation. If it has one of these signs, it's an inequality. An open sentence means an equation or an inequality that has algebra in it. So that means it has to contain a variable. Okay, here are some examples. The first example, 5 plus 2 equals 7, that's an equation. It uses an equal sign. It's not an open sentence because there's no algebra in it. Okay, the second example, 6 minus x is greater than 5, is an inequality because it uses one of the 4 inequality signs. It's also an open sentence because it has a variable. The third example is an equation. It's got an equal sign, and it's also an open sentence. It has variables. The last one is an inequality. It uses one of the 4 inequality signs, but it's not an open sentence because it doesn't have any algebra in it, no variables. Look at example 1 on page 21. Number A gives us a verbal sentence. The difference of twice a number k and 8 is 12. And then they show you how you write that. 2k minus 8 equals 12. Notice that the word is means equals. When you see something, something, something is something, that's equals. Number B, the product of 6 and a number n is at least 24. At least 24. Is still in there, but it is at least. So you're going to end up with some kind of an inequality sign. Okay? In this case, it says the product of 6 and n is at least. It has to be 24, so that means it has to be 24 or greater. It could be equal to 24, so that's how you get that sign on that problem. This one is a little tricky, and it takes a little practice to get the wording because you really have to think. Number 3 says a number y is no less than 5 and no more than 13. When you see no less and no more, you're going to know that this is a special kind of inequality that puts something in between. So that is why they have a y and they have a less than or equal to 13 and a less than or equal to 5. What they're saying is y comes in between those two. Look at the answer and let's think about what it said. A number y is no less, that means no smaller. That means it can't be smaller than 5. 5 is the smallest it could be. And no more than 13. It can't be bigger than 13. It's in between. And you write it in this kind of interesting, weird, special way. Okay, look at the guided practice on page 20, number 1. It says write an equation or an inequality. Here is what you're looking for. This is how you do it. Divide it up into parts. Okay, find some parts. Okay, the thing that's jumping out at me, quotient, jumping out at me, is at least is jumping out of me, at me, okay? What does quotient mean? Quotient means divide. So I'm going to go, okay, this whole part is one side, and there's a quotient involved. And this whole part is on the other side of the sign. And right here, this is going to be the sign. Okay? That's going to be an inequality sign because is at least goes with inequalities. Plain old is means equal. So it's like, here's one side, here's part of the equation, here's the middle, which is going to be one of those four signs, it's inequality, and here's the other side. If you kind of break it apart, that helps. So first, let's decide just what this part looks like. This part looks like quotient. What does that mean? Quotient means we're dividing. So put the fraction bar. Remember, we use fraction bars for divide. The quotient of a number p and 12. P comes first, so p goes on top, 12 goes on bottom. Okay, that's that side. Now, the other side, I already said, is just this part. So there's 30. Now all we have to decide is which sign are we going to put in there. Okay, it says the answer, the quotient of p and 12, the answer is at least 30. Can it be bigger than 30? Yes. It's at the very smallest. It's at least 30. Can it be equal to 30? Yes. So that means it has to be bigger than or equal to 30. That's greater than or equal to. This answer could be 30, or it could be 31, or it could be 30.1, or it could be 30 and a half, but it has to be either 30 or something bigger. So, this inequality that you wrote, p over 12 is greater than or equal to 30, is the answer to that question. Okay, let's practice on this one. The sum of a number n is equal to 50. First, let's divide it up into parts. Okay? The sum of a number n is one part. Okay? Then, the next part is equal. That's going to be the sign. The third part is 251. So we got three parts. Okay? Wait a minute. Okay, I left part of it out. The sum of 42 and a number. That's supposed to be right there. The sum of 42 and a number. Okay? Well, the sum of 42 and a number, what does sum mean? Sum means add. So 42 plus n. That's that side. Then we've got the middle, is equal. That's an equal sign. Then we have the next side, 51. The sum of a number and the sum of 42 and a number n is equal to 51. That's the answer. Okay, let's practice again. Let's divide this into parts. The product of 4 and a number w is at most 51. Okay, first part. The product of 4 and a number w. Second part is at most. Third part, 51. Okay, let's write the parts down. What does product mean? Product means multiply. So the product of 4 and a number w, well, that's 4w. Okay, the last part is 51. Now we just have to decide which one of these four inequality signs will work. How do I know it's an inequality? Because it says is at most, is at least. All of those are inequalities. This one is at most. What does that mean? That means that this answer, over here, when I got that answer, it could be at most 51. 51 is the most that it could be. If 51 is the most it can be, which sign do you think it is? It's this sign right here. Okay? This can be at the most 51. The greatest it could be is 51. So that means this answer has to be less than 51 or equal to 51. Okay, let's try another one. The difference of a number t and 7 is greater than 10 and less than 20. Greater than 10 and less than 20. Remember that really weird special one we had in the examples on page 21? Okay, it said no less and no more. This one says greater than and less than. Anytime there's two things in there, that means it's the special one. So I'm actually going to have 3 parts plus the signs. So let's see if we can divide it up. Okay, the difference of a number t and 7, that's 1 part, okay, is greater than 10 is another part. Is greater than 10 is another part. And less than 20 is another part. Okay? Now remember, this is the one that's going to have the first part in the middle, and there's going to be a sign on each side, and then the 10 and the 20. So, let's figure out what goes in the middle. The difference of a number, t, and 7. What does difference mean? Difference means subtract. So, t minus 7 in the middle. Okay? Now on one side, we're going to have a 10. On the other side, a 20. Now, you got to figure out which way you're going to point the greater than or less than signs to make it like that. Let's see what it says. It says this answer, right here, whatever this is greater than 10, it's bigger than 10, and it's less than 20. So, it goes like this. Also, an important thing to know, these two signs always point the same direction. So this time both of them are going there. Okay, this is bigger than this. So wouldn't this be less than that? This is bigger than this. This is bigger. So that means this is less than this, and this is less than this. Don't be too discouraged if this is the one you have trouble with. This one is the hardest one. But eventually, you'll get it. Okay. Now, moving on to example 2 on page 22. Here's some instructions. Check whether the given number is a solution. That means, does the number they give you when you plug it in, when you substitute it, make the sentence true? Remember, this is a math sentence. It's an inequality, yes, but it's also called an open sentence. Does it make it true? So all you have to do is take 20, put it in X's spot, do the math. 20 minus 12, that's 8. Is 8 less than 5? No. So that is not a solution. The answer is not a solution. This part's the answer. They're asking you, is this a solution? Is it not a solution? You're going to put solution or not a solution. Check out example 2. This part's pretty easy. Okay, here's another one. Is 3 a solution to this? Plug it in and find out. 5 plus 3 times 3. less than or equal to 20. That's 9. 9 plus 5 is 14. Is 14 less than or equal to 20? Yes, 14 is less than or equal to 20. So yes, this is a solution. Okay, that's your answer, solution. Example 3, you're going to love this. Use mental math to solve an equation. Everyone should be cheering because nobody said solve, check, and show all work. All I said was use mental math. X plus 5 equals 7. What's x? 2. Done. Mental math. 6n equals 30. What's n? 5. Mental math. 6 times 5 is 30. No solving, no checking, no showing all work. Get the answer right though. Okay, video homework is going to be the guided practice on page 22 and page 23. Page 23, super important that you go through and read and look at example 4 and example 5. The book does an excellent job of walking you through how to do those multi-step word problems. If you don't take the time to sit down and try to understand them, you're going to get lost pretty fast. So make sure you go over that. Tomorrow in class, when we go over video homework, I want you to ask me questions about example 4 and example 5. So if there's something you don't understand, write it down on your video homework, make a note to ask me. Okay? Thanks. See you next time. This will take 30 minutes to upload.